Hey gamers, welcome back. I have a question for you. Have you ever opened a video game, equipped a weapon, opened the world map, fast travelled, committed a crime? Well, I'm sorry, you've been gaming wrong. In this video, I will give you the solution to all your problems. You can be a little meta gremlin and see which Nightfare is good and which are bad. I will tell you all you need to know. In no particular order, here are the Nightfarers.
Tarnished. Are you sure you want me to remove my socks?
Duchess is the fast-paced DPS of the game. Her abilities are all about combat and being aggressive, and is a very fun character to play if you love to see a bunch of numbers and quick weapons. Her passive is an extended dodge, a great tool to get extra iframes because it has more iframes than any other character's dodge. You can also double dodge with her ability, meaning if you just spam the input, you're almost unkillable. This helps her enable to dodge around the big scary attacks whilst keeping up pressure, just dancing around the enemies. Duchess's skill is a busted move. It replays the damage that just happened over the past few seconds, and it reapplies to the enemy, including all forms of damage. Status effects like Bleed of Frost, ultimate damage, and this all helps still stagger the boss. And if you combine them with your two other teammates' attacks and ultimates, you can deal monstrous damage. However, it is only 50% of the damage is reapplied, so calm down there, gamer. Duchess's ultimate is quite a useful tool in case your teammates get slimed on the battlefield. It turns you all invisible. That's it. But trust me, it is useful. It's mostly used to get up your teammates without being harassed by the bosses, as it disables the boss's aggro on you unless you attack it. So it's a great tool to get your teammates up in peace. Also, another quirk with the Duchess is you think she's just a dex character, but actually she has a secret A scaling and intelligence, and so it's another good thing you can do is slap on a staff and cast some spells for some more damage. Overall, the Duchess is a very fun glass cannon build, and she can do a lot of damage, but also cannot take a lot of damage back. That's the only downside because of how squishy she is. She's going in A tier.
That fucking bird that I hate! That fucking bird that I hate!
Guardian is a tough character to play well. His whole thing is that he is all about blocking, which is what you're gonna have to do if you play as him because he has the worst dodge in the game with barely any iframes. But in a game all about dodging moves and attacking, Guardian doesn't have an ideal playstyle because so many bosses' moves will just eat through your stamina or guard break you or just damage you because it has elemental damage. Most of the shields in the game do not fully block elemental damage, that is why Guardian will take damage. But anyway, his passive ability isn't even a passive. If you press dodge while guarding, you go into a super stance where you actually become a useful tank and block all sorts of moves, but you do move very slowly. So you can only really use it to tank some big or multiple attacks and then just get out of that stance. It's great for tanking bosses' hits or taking aggro and just letting your team do more damage. Guardian's skill is a whirlwind that stuns smaller enemies and does a little bit of damage, and outside of stun locking some smaller enemies, it is completely fucking useless against everything else and will actively get you killed. It is dog shit. It literally does nothing to bigger enemies and it is borderline useless. His ultimate, however, man, it is the best ultimate in the game for getting his team up. He fucking flies into the sky and just blasts down and hits everyone on the ground and just getting your team up. Even if they have 3 bars that they're down, if you also hold the button, you become invincible and give your team invincibility as well, giving them time to heal up and fight the boss. Overall, Guardian does have some solid abilities in this kit, however his playstyle is very restrictive and you need to play him the way he demands you to play or you will just get annihilated. And if you aren't the best at feathering into his block ability and then out of it to move, you're probably going to have a miserable time playing him. I'm gonna put him in C tier.
You would like it if I called you mommy's good boy.
An actual interesting and unique take on magic and not just spam mindlessly, although you can still do that. But for Recluse, she's all about using different kinds of spells to combo and deal a bunch of damage, and her abilities help enable her to just go crazy. She has both an S scaling in faith and intelligence, so she can use whatever spell she comes across and have some success with it, but you just need to be lucky with the spells and stabs that drop. She has single best dodge in the game with the most iframes, a nice graceful dash, which is great in case you are in the boss's way and you can just dance around, but you won't be needing to use it as much if you play at distance. Her passive is the insane unique part I was talking about. So each elemental damage type leaves an effect that you can absorb as the Recluse, and it puts it into your magic cocktail. This also restores a percentage of your FP. Her skill, on the other hand, when she's got 3 different elements in her magic cocktail, you will deal a special kind of spell, depending on what the elements are. But typically, the best type of spells are the ones that have 3 different elemental types that will deal the highest and most amount of damage. Her ultimate is a big AoE that puts a sigil on enemies, and whenever you attack that sigil, you get HP and FP per hit. So a great way to regen more FP with your spells for a limited time. Overall, the Recluse is one of the best damage dealers, but you do need to be reliant on finding good spells, or you won't have as much damage in fights and it'll just take longer. And her having a great dodge does help, and also her ultimate. But again, it's quite squishy and RNG dependent, but still worth the A tier in my opinion. The Wylder. The Aura Farmer himself is one of the most popular characters in the game, and I can't see why. He's a very balanced character, and he's got a little bit of scaling in every stat, so most weapons you pick up with him, you'll be able to do some kind of damage. And he's also a really cool character, I cannot deny that. His passive ability is just cheating death. Whenever you're about to die, you don't. And he just dodges really far back, out of the way. It resets whenever you rested a grace, but it never actually used to do that. You would only have 1 chance to use it for the whole run. But now, anytime you rested a grace, you get that bonus life back. Wylder's skill is a fucking grappling hook. It's so good to traverse on the map. You can shoot it into the ground, glide along, and then if you jump at the end of it, you get some crazy distance. That's why I personally love playing him, because he can get to places so quickly. But the other use for his grappling hook is that you can shoot enemies. If they're small, it'll pull them close to you. If they're big, you'll slide towards them. And a little bonus, if you've got the special relic, you do a cool little fire spin weapon attack, and it does buff your weapon as well. The ultimate is a great big fuck off chargeable blast. This does a bunch of damage and stagger build up, and will almost always interrupt the boss's attack, and it feels so good when you actually get that damage off. Overall, the Wylder is a very fun and simple character to play, and he does get some great outfits as well, I'll admit. But gameplay wise, he's objectively the best character to get around with it on the map, and he can pick up any weapon and do good damage with it. And with that being said, he's going in S tier.
You gutless noob. Everyone sees you, mate, for the gut.
You're not going to like this, but he is one of the best characters in the game. Yes, I know he uses a bow, yes, I know he has a coward bitch playstyle, but he is really good with how he plays at range and can deal chip damage, take aggro, build up stagger and status effects. Whilst the boss is coming towards you and your team are far away, they can heal, reset whilst you waste the boss's time. I know he's scum, but he is good. His passive is just giving himself and his team better item discovery, aka you'll find better loot, and this also does stack with multiple Ironeyes. The skill is a mark that applies to enemies, and the great thing about the mark is that enemies hit by it take 20% more damage, and also the mark has a secret health bar. If the health bar on the mark reaches 0, it will do extra damage and also guarantees a stagger in some form, when it's a mini stagger where they stop their attack, or an actual repostable stagger. And also applying this mark is piss fucking easy. As soon as you press the ability button, you gain iframes during the entire animation. And it turns off collision, so you can straight up phase through enemies, avoiding all damage. And it gets better. You can have 2 marks, so you're even harder to hit. And if you double mark the enemy, it doesn't even reset the old mark, it just resets the fucking timer. And the ultimate of Ironeye is another great move. It's a giant fucking arrow he pulls out of his ass and just hits everything on the screen. And it can revive allies with 2 or less bars. As I mentioned before, he is amazing. He can play at range, then if he takes aggro on you, you just a distraction, you waste the boss's time, and he comes all the way towards you and your team can just reset, re-heal, rebuff, and then attack him again. An easy S tier.
Baby, I'm playing on you tonight.
Do you like katanas? Well, with the Executor, you might ask, how many katanas does one man need? The answer? Not enough. Executor is probably the most simple character you can build, and that is status effects. His katanas already do bleed, and so it's easy to add more status effects onto it. But aside from damage, he has some great survivability, as he has tools in his kit that can make him stay alive for a long time. He probably has one of the highest skill ceiling characters in the game, however, because there is a little bit of nuance to him. His ability is kind of weird. When you recover from a status effect, you get 20 seconds of a damage and stamina boost. but it doesn't really happen that often, and you need to recover from the status effect, not having it built up in your bar. But if you do fight a boss that has a status effect, it is quite a nice little bonus. Executor's skill is another katana, however, this one is cooler than the rest because you use it to block attacks like in Sekiro. If you block at the perfect time, you don't take any damage at all. And if you block 4 attacks, you can use the skill, which is a big swipe of damage. It's only really used to aura farm though, as you move slowly and lose all the status build up pressure that you were doing with your other weapons. But if you're really good with it and you block all the time, you will basically never ever die. The ultimate transforms you into an Alpha Sigma awesome wolf that has a few different types of attacks, but the main thing is that it restores all your health and it gives you a much bigger health pool as well. But whilst you're in it, you can also get staggered, and if you just brainlessly attack, you will die and just get knocked out of your ability. Overall, the Executor is a really cool but difficult character to play. It has multiple fun ways that you can build him with relics that make his playstyles quite different, so I'm going to give him S tier. Raider, my boy, my main, if you will, is sadly not as good as it used to be. To the brain dead playstyle of just jumping power stance weapons did get nerfed, which is quite a shame. But he certainly has a less in-depth playstyle than most other characters. He's got an S scaling in strength, so he is the epitome of big weapon, big hit, big bonk. His passive is a fake passive, it just makes him have infinite poise during his ability. And speaking of his ability, this actually carries him. You press the button, you go from barely taking any damage and doing a crazy headbutt that is great to stagger enemies, but better yet, if you take enough hits as Raider, you'll have an upgraded headbutt, which is a longer animation, makes you stunless for longer, and guarantees a stagger on enemy or bosses, and you cannot die during this headbutt. You will just go to 1 HP instead of dying, which is absolutely amazing. His ultimate ability is the biggest meme move of all time. He just summons an obnoxious pillar where he is standing, which is probably more of a bad thing than a good thing, but it is his ultimate nonetheless. The buff it gives you is an attack buff, and if you've got certain relics equipped, it can increase your poise or give you HP on kill. But the downside, however, is that if you're against any enemy that does not move or stagger easily, it will just stay inside the pillar and you cannot see what move it does. It does also block loot inside the pillar too. As fun as the funny headbutt move is, he does not have a unique passive that does hurt him to play, and he is all focused on strength, which, by the way, can we talk about how slow his moveset is? What is going on? That is unbelievable. But if you want to just turn your brain off and have fun with the character, Raider is the guy for you. He is going in B tier. B for bonk. The meme poster child of the game. She is actually a Faith user, believe it or not, but there's literally other better Faith characters than her. Sorry, Revenant. Anyway, she's got a lot to her. Her passive is that she kills an enemy, there's a chance for it to come back as a friendly ghost and fight for you, but it almost never happens because it does not count if your teammates get the kills, which happens more often than not. Her skill is that she can summon her very own friendly ghost, and there's 3 different types. Fast-paced, squishy, hitter, big hammer, big hit, slow moving, stationary, massive fucking skeleton. These guys are great for taking aggro, but have no scaling, so if you're in a normal game or Depth 5 in Deep of Night, they have the same HP and damage, which is quite unfortunate. Her ultimate makes your team unable to die for about 10 seconds after it pops, and can be changed with a lot of different relics to do different things, like healing your team or just doing a bunch of damage. It's a great way to stay alive. Each of the ghosts also have their own ultimate as well whenever you use yours. Shout out to the big laser skeleton one. Also, there's a little secret that's actually not so secret, is that everyone knows her claws are great for reviving people, but have a slow moveset. But you might not know that if you drop it and give it to a teammate, they still retain the greater revive potential, but have a faster moveset because it doesn't have the Revenant's claw moveset. For the Revenant, personally, I struggle to play with her. I just suck at her, I'm just not good with her playstyle, but every time there is a busted Faith user doing a bunch of damage, it is another Revenant player, so for that, she's not that awful, but she's going to go in C tier. Also, the other reason she's in C tier is because she's got no way to naturally regen FP unlike the Recluse, and she's the smallest health pool in the game.
What the hell?
A criminally underrated character in my opinion. I think he is incredible if you only have one of them on your team. His deal is he uses consumables and upgrades them the more he uses them, and you can also buff your whole team if you've got the right relics, and he has some very unique abilities that set him apart and make him feel fun to play. I think having 2 scholars on your team isn't ideal because they'll be fighting over consumables. His passive is just that he can take more consumables and you upgrade them the more you use them, and whenever they hit level 3, the ones I like the most is fire pots deal more damage, and the crabs give a massive health boost as well when they are maxed out. I personally think this is the best ability of his out of the 3. Scholar's skill is where he looks at the enemies and builds up a meter, and when it hits the max, it debuffs the enemy and increases your max stamina. And also, if you press the heavy attack button, you'll do a parry with the ability that will knock back or stagger the enemy trying to hit you, but you do need to time it or you'll get whacked out of the ability screen. And the ultimate is a link that spreads to your teammates, spreading healing around, so if one person heals, the others get it, and the enemies share damage, so if you use it in a big group of enemies, they'll all take the same amount of damage as if they were the ones getting attacked. Overall, a great new character added. The only downside is he's got no good scalings, and so outside of consumables does pretty pathetic damage. However, all the other abilities more than make up for it, which means he is going into A tier. One of the 2 newest Nightfarers to come out, she is incredibly fun to play. A Strength Faith hybrid, which is a split stat line, which you can use heavy weapons and incantations. It's a great way to play in Elden Ring, and it's still a great way to play in Nightreign. And the rest of her kit is just to do with how using her ultimate all the time. Let's just start with the ultimate, as everything else in her kit involves it in some way. It is a fucking missile. You fly across the map and whatever is in the way is getting hit. It does the full damage during the entire duration of the fly, so you can just hit multiple things, and the ultimate itself just does a lot of damage and a lot of stagger. Her passive is whenever a teammate uses their ultimate, or when she dodges a grab attack, she can just use her ult regardless of whatever the gauge is on, and she does not lose any of the gauge she had previously before using the ultimate. Her ability is a buff that makes you sprint instead of walk, boosts stamina regen, and also gives you a better dodge. You can also hold the button to consume your ultimate and literally have auto dodge for 10 seconds, but whether you think that is worth it to consume your ultimate for that is up to you. Undertaker's relics are also some of the best in the game. She's got a few different playstyles if you want to spec into those different relics as well, and the fact that she can use her ultimate all the time makes her another S tier character. Thanks for watching, gamers. Here is the final tier list, and thank you for listening to all my yapping. A little bit more talk in this video, but hopefully you all enjoyed. Thank you for sticking it to the end, and I'll be making more videos in the new year. Take it easy, guys. Merry Christmas, New Year, all that jazz. See you later, guys.